It's a good thing we actually killed this zombie, otherwise Brad left us for dead again. What's going on, everyone? It's the Niskel. Welcome back to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Well, it's a nice clock tower. And actually, right here, it lets you know it's a special landmark. We're actually going to be heading there later. Spoiler alert, if you want to call it. Back here, here's some handgun bullets. We're definitely going to need it because we're almost out. And I love this. You can click all back here in this big bar, and the only thing you can find is bourbon. High society in Raccoon City. But the main reason we came here, besides to talk to Brad, is to get the lighter. Combine that with the lighter fluid, and all of a sudden we have a working lighter. It's 1 + 1 logic here in Resident Evil 3. I guess I should give Brad a little bit of an introduction. He was actually in the first game the helicopter pilot that helped Jill's group. You only saw him, or heard him, in the radio, and in the beginning when he just flew away and left you all in the mansion. And then at the end of the game, he showed up, and depending on your ending, he dropped you a rocket launcher to help kill the tyrant. And that's all that Brad has done. He shows up in a special cameo, a very special cameo in Resident Evil 2, but you have to do something really special to find him there. But our main objective today, move forward in Raccoon City. There is a very special reason we got that lighter and got it working. And I know why we need to go this way, and I know why you need the lighter. It's just kind of silly when I think of it out loud. We actually need to go down that hallway, but I want to make sure we're not missing anything. You definitely want to come back and unlock this door. There's only a couple things we'll need to come back for later on in the game, because there's a specific point in the game where there's no turning back. It's one of those points in the game, and jeez, that was close. Thank God for the quick turn. But we will be coming back to these earlier parts of the game to get items that we may have missed. So you're going to want to unlock that door. It leads almost exactly to the beginning. And I wanted to see if there was anything there on the wall, because there's a lot of flavor text in this game, because there's tons of posters all over the alleyways of Raccoon City. Oh, hear that? Now here's something interesting. That, those pallets right there, I think that's actually part of a tutorial that Capcom wants you to figure out yourself. And speaking of tutorials, it's now time to learn about explosions! Resident Evil 3 added exploding barrels and different types of bombs all around the city. So, if we time it right... Massive destruction. We took out all but 2 of the zombies, because those 2, I think they're too busy shambling against the wall to actually get close enough to get in that blast radius. But those pallets back there, if you accidentally blew up the barrel, you know, you just wanted to try it out, see if it actually did something, and it did blow up, and you're like, well, shoot, what do I do now? How do I get them away from me? You can actually climb on top of those pallets and shoot down at them. So, kind of cool. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but I'll give them credit for that. The things that we just picked up, red herbs. You always, always, always want to mix those with a green herb as soon as you can, because they are useless by themselves. Mix them with a green herb, it becomes a fully healing item. So, that's pretty good. If you've got some green herbs lying around, and you don't know what to do with them, you're just going to use them on, like, yellow caution or whatever, try to find a red herb, combine it, and save it for later. Trust me on this. You also want to make sure you have plenty of health for later. Health is kind of scarce in hard mode. Now, here's what I was talking about earlier. I know why they did it. It's to make sure the zombies didn't get in. But they closed it with rope and poured oil on it. Why? It only makes sense in this context to use a lighter to open the door. Oh, and here we have our introduction of zombie dogs, Cerberus. There are always zombie dogs. In almost every survival horror game, there are zombie dogs, and they're annoying in every single game you fight them in. And then look at that, we got more gunpowder, and we have the introduction of Gunpowder B. Let's clean up the item tory here a bit. I like to separate my items between healing and important items, and mainly guns and weaponry. So weaponry will always be on the top, that way I can scroll up. Healing items will always be at the bottom. That way I can go through and look at all of my healing items to make sure I'm not missing anything, and to make sure I use the right one. So using one container of gunpowder B gets me basically a full clip of shotgun shells. Very helpful, and we won't need the lighter for a while, actually, so we'll just keep right on going. Farther and farther into the dying city. That's a little trick you can do with dogs. If they're charging you on the same screen you're in, if you leave and come back to the same screen, they will be in an animation where they're getting up from them lying down. So that's something good if you need to run away from dogs. You just go in a door, come out, and they'll be just still getting up from the ground. Here is an amazing detail if you played Resident Evil 2. It's the Raccoon Police Department. And it almost has the exact same structure as Resident Evil 2. Oh, and be prepared. If you needed to save in that last save room, you want to do it.
Jill!
Brad!
We've got to... Jill! Help!
No! Brad?
Think fast. Here's your first example of a live selection. Oh, what are we gonna do? We're gonna run. Take a listen to the music in here. That is probably the greatest introduction of a boss I have ever seen. That is Nemesis, the main villain of Resident Evil 3. This monster will never stop coming for you. And that's the appeal of Resident Evil 3 and where its difficulty comes from. You are always being pursued by a monster. And the way you know he's around is you listen for that theme. Looks like the theme's gone, so we must have ran away from the front door. But I love the idea of Nemesis, a monster that will never stop pursuing you. I think it's brilliant. Now, going over live selections. They don't happen often, but when they do, you have one of three choices. I know you only saw two, but trust me, there's a third option that not a lot of people choose. For the sake of this hard mode playthrough, I'm going to be going through all of the routes that net you either the best reward or will make you the safest. Now, the other option actually allowed us to advance a lot quicker than we normally would. You can still advance, we'll just have to go get another item that's in the police station. Speaking of which, the police station, exactly how we left it in Resident Evil 2. I love this kind of callback. But Leon left us some zombies. He didn't clean up after himself. I've tried my best to see if there were handgun bullets in these desks, and I couldn't find any. Oh, there's something interesting. We saw him in Resident Evil 2. In fact, he turned into a zombie in front of our very eyes. This report, if it's your first time playing, you're going to want to read this carefully. It's telling you about 2 special items that you'll need to advance in the game. It looks like a couple gems were stolen from a clock in the city. We're going to be looking for those gems because it'll let us go closer to the clock tower. That's our main objective, heading there. Now here's something very interesting. I've played through this game a couple times in preparation for this Let's Play. And those shotgun shells were not there until this playthrough. That is another appeal to this game. Items and enemies change places depending on your current playthrough. An example. If you die and you reload your game, enemies will change. item placement will change. It all depends on whenever you start the game up again. Now, let's say I save and quit, I come back, and I go find an item. If I reset the game and go back, there's a 50-50 chance that item will still be there, or it'll be switched around somewhere else. Oh, Jill? Okay, there we go. We had to make it so the zombie actually moved. A lot of enemies and items have permanent placements in the game. It's ingenious and aggravating at the same time, because if you want a special item, and you know where it is, and it's not there, you got a different setup. So if you really wanted to, if you wanted a setup that got you the best stuff, that'd be a lot of saving and quitting. Not even worth it. But I will say, here in the police station, there is one setup that you really, really want, depending on what kind of a player you are. And I really hope I get it. I got a 50-50 shot. Listening for that music too, that means you're in a safe room. No enemies can get you here, which is finally a safe haven. In here you'll find an item box. Most of the time in safe havens, we already saw the ones around where the dogs were, but this one actually has more than just, a typewriter, ink ribbon, ammo, what have you. Sometimes, we get gunpowder. You're going to want to go to every room you can, especially if you find another safe haven, and just stock up. There will almost always be something to help you out, whether it be gunpowder or some other type of ammunition. You may not need it, but it's the thought that counts, right? And I gotta say, for the record, I really love this song. And we're gonna save that gunpowder for later, because I eventually want to make sea gunpowder and start making grenade rounds. We're not going to head up the stairs yet. We need something specific down on this floor to actually advance up to the stairs. You'll see what I mean. Now, here's another good example of the enemy placement switching. In a different playthrough, there was nothing in here. There were no items, there were no monsters, there was nothing in this hallway. But they showed up somewhere else. And for those of you who watched Resident Evil 2, or played it yourself, this looks very familiar. This is kind of like the room where all the meetings happen, talk about the daily mission. Now, those shotgun shells we got in Marvin's office, if they weren't there, they'd be here. I do know that for a fact, because that's where I found them in the last playthrough. See, that's kind of the difficult thing about trying to tell you where everything is, because during my playthrough, it could be different than yours. The only reason we came here was for Jill's S.T.A.R.S card. We needed that for the computer right inside the front of the police station, so that's where we're going to be heading back. I want to check something, though. Those zombies might be guarding something. And it's a gamble, because I know sometimes there's items back there, but it might not be this time. So that's kind of the gamble you have to take with this. And there's a lot of them, by the way. There are, like, 5 zombies back there. Shotgun makes quick work of them. If you don't want to waste that, you can go for your handgun ammo, but it's a lot simpler to use your shotgun, because you can also do that. One-hit kills. If you aim up and shoot when they're pretty close to you, you can take their head off for an insta-kill. Oh, I was right! Yes! The red herbs are back here. I'll show you the location of the red herbs that, if they're not here, they'll be in a different place. I'll be sure to show you that. It's small locales like this, like the police station, where I know where the items are going. But one of the item placements is really, really jerkish, because it's in a completely different area if it's not here. I decided to switch around my items, throw those red herbs into the item box, mix them with green herbs, because every time I find a red herb, I always want to combine it with a green. It is so helpful later on. if a camera angle is ever giving you trouble and you know there's a monster in the room, what I always tend to do is I aim, and as long as I have the auto aim option on, if you press the L button while holding down R, Jill will automatically target the closest enemy, and sometimes she'll target enemies that are far away. So, let's say you can't see a zombie, it's off screen. If you aim for it, you can see where it is in the room, and then you can go around it if you wish. You can engage it. And thanks to the S.T.A.R.S card, we now have our code. What does that code do? Well, let's go figure it out. If you took the alternate option in the live action segment when we first saw Nemesis, you would actually be able to do this immediately. Because we would be able to steal Brad's S.T.A.R.S card. Because we're good people like that. Yeah, loot the dead. Alright, 4011. This is actually one of, I think, 4 different combinations of what this could be. There's a lot of different combinations and codes that this could be. You'll see them on screen if I can't remember them. Another quick trip to the item box, and we're finally going upstairs. We're going to get an item, and I really hope it's there. It's one of the items that can change. And actually, these enemies have changed places. Whoops. Didn't really want that to happen, but if you can get past these guys without killing them, you're going to want to do that just to conserve ammo, because the only one down here will be a fat zombie. Fat zombies do twice as much damage as a regular zombie, so try not to get grappled by them. The enemy placement on this top floor will sometimes be the fat zombie near the stairs, and then those 3 zombies back to where the fat zombie was this time. And if the red herbs weren't down in that hallway with the bunch of zombies, they would be here. And I just love these little callbacks to Resident Evil 2. And good, we found the S.T.A.R.S office. Now you gotta wonder, why didn't Jill have her card on her? Shouldn't that be like a thing that she has on her at all times? Like this item here? The lockpick. You will always find the lockpick in this room, and go figure, it's on Jill's desk. She is the master of unlocking. And I do love these like little jabs at all the other S.T.A.R.S members. So this is Chris Redfield's desk. He's a slob. On Barry's desk, we get a lot of handgun bullets. That is so helpful. Let's see, is there any ammo back here? In Resident Evil 2, there was ammo back here. Right now, this is just Wesker's desk. Nothing doing here. Oh, look at that higher resolution. And back here... Yes! It's here! The Magnum! If you open up that cabinet and it's not the Magnum, I would suggest you reset. Magnum is the most powerful weapon in the game, apart from, like, say, a rocket launcher. But you can get it this early in the game. Now, if you don't get the Magnum there, you will get the grenade launcher. Oh, it's a callback to Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. We got Kendo, the gun store owner, and he's talking about the Samurai Edge. The Samurai Edge is the infinite handgun you unlock if you beat Resident Evil Remake in under 5 hours. It's an infinite handgun. Robert Kendo of Kendo's Guns Shop. Oh, we saw him die.
No! Come anyone! Our platoon is cut off! No survivors found! This is Carlos! Send in support immediately!
Yeah, this channel sucks. Believe it or not, the only reason we came into the police station was to get our lockpick. If you think about it in the smaller scheme of things, we get the lockpick to advance in the city. So I always think of it as that's the only reason we came here. Just need to avoid these zombies again, and we are home free. Hear that? Uh-oh. The music back, which means... Nope! 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 Nemesis has found us again. And I love this added touch that his music plays while you're in the save room. It's almost as if the save room is not safe anymore. Because as soon as you walk out of this door, you're going to be jumped by Nemesis. Save, save, save. Because next time, we're going to be fighting Nemesis. And you want to fight Nemesis on hard mode to get some really good weaponry. So, we're gonna get loaded for war. We're gonna take down the boss of this game. But first, let's take a quick look at those alternate selections. In live selection, if you actually choose to fight with the monster, it just goes into a regular fight. So now you can fight Nemesis as you would normally. I wouldn't suggest it because you have barely any ammo this early in the game. But the only reason you would do this is to get Brad's card early. That way you can get the S.T.A.R.S key, and you could just go straight there. Alternately, there is a third choice. So if you don't want to fight with the monster and you don't want to enter the police station, you just do nothing. I always love that. Next time on Resident Evil 3, we are fighting Nemesis.